Okay, hi. We're doing the advanced cases. The last advanced case, we're doing Sigmund Freud's horoscope. Okay. Okay, so Sigmund Freud was born May 6, 1856 in Pribor, Czechoslovakia at 6:30 p.m. So we just quick look at his chart. You see there's it would be a bowl except that the Neptune's past the handle. So it ends up being a bucket with Mars as the handle. So his sexual complexes, his focus on energy and doing things, he had a very strong Mars accentuation, even though Mars was in Libra. But 11th house, so he's wanting to do things with people, around people. He has a one side to prove things to the team or to the group. He's a Taurus with a Gemini moon. So he's a Taurus, but he had the sun conjunct Uranus. So like Young had the sun in Leo and Uranus in Leo in the 7th house. He has the sun and Uranus also in the 7th house, and they're both the psychotherapists, the counselors. And that ability to see other people. His is Freud a little more practical, is down to earth. It says the earthy Taurus, a sense of what's appreciating, what's worthwhile. But it's eccentric with the Uranus there. It's independent. His head to do something different. And his Mercury was there as well. But his moon is in Gemini. So I found his moon in Gemini most interesting. It's in the 8th house, the psychology of the trust shared between people. But his concepts of Freudian slip of just write down a bunch of ideas, just say a bunch of words, just, and sooner or later that bunch of ideas, some word is going to come up that's just out of context, and it's the Freudian slip. It's the sudden word that really represents your impressions that came up in it. So you can see the free feeling, the Gemini moon that intellectualizes their feelings and just thinking and is watching thoughts but is in this 8th house of seeing how people connect, how he could make sense out of those feelings. And the concept of Freud is being a very Gemini type approach. So the Gemini moon, the Taurus with the Gemini moon, and the Scorpio rising. Okay, so, we'll come around to it, but I just wanted to and he's born on, it is the new moon phase. Just at the very beginning, the cycle of feeling he's starting something new, which he was. Okay, 1 second, we'll just put this chart over here. Go. Okay, so here's a bucket chart with the Mars as the handle. So the bucket chart is like the bowl, has the idealisms and has all this energy on one side of the chart, but it's poured out directly towards the handle of the focus. So all his energy was pushed to the Mars, so focusing on the Mars. Okay, so that seems fairly appropriate. He's born in the waxing new moon phase. It's just the greatest start. It's just beginning, a sense of things just starting and having to start things and to see the beginnings of things. So when you look at his chart, it's Leo, Taurus, Aquarius. It's all fixed. Well, when we looked at Young's chart, it was Leo, Taurus, and Aquarius. Like it was. What's wrong here? No, there's something wrong. Leo, Taurus. That's wrong. That's not Aquarius. It's Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. But it's still all fixed. But the Leo, Taurus, Aquarius is Young's. But this was. So okay, what can I do here? Can I just fix that over here? Over it. No, I don't think I can do this. I should be able to do it. Comments. Area. Dark. I'm just going to block this. Try and actually block this out. Okay, well, at least it's highlighted. So we don't see it as our comment. still. Oh, well, it's there. So much, but this is Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, but still all fixed. But with the Scorpio ascendant, Freud would have this intense emotional personality. He would have a very emotional, judgmental side, which Jung had the Aquarius. He is a little bit more detached. A detached side, a different or a detached side, the reserved side, whereas Freud had a very intense scorpionic side. So, okay, when we look at the keywords, I am, 1, 5 I have, 3 I think, 1 I will, 1 I balance, 1 I desire, 2 I believe. So I have and I think are his 2 strong points. Okay, this is, okay. When we look at daylight increasing, 11 points daylight increasing, trying to do his own thing, trying to be more independent, trying to do things more his way. And 10 points day, and it was 3 belonging. So he was trying to be more independent, get his own work out, get his own ideas out, and his daylight was greater than his darkness. So he really had his own independent way of doing it as well. This is not it's not really a team player. He's a strong person to do his own thing. His attitude was doing his own thing. I got it, I'm there, I'm doing this, this is it. So then when you see cardinal 2, fixed 7, mutable 5, so there was still an outstanding fixed quality, which Jung had too, but really, like, yes, there's still a strong fixed quality with a fair amount of adaptability. Of adjustment. So, yeah, okay. Winter 2, spring 9, 1 summer, 2 autumn. So really everything would happen in the springtime, really significant things. Most of the activity would happen in the springtime for him when the sun, moon, and the Mercury, Venus, and all the inner planets were going through there, as well as wherever other things were. He would get really energized in the springtime, and not so much in the summer, fall, or winter. That 9 is a fairly big distinction. Fire, water, air, 2, 4, 5, 3, just fairly even distribution. His enthusiasm or the fiery and adrenaline he didn't have that much of. The practical down to earth he had, the communication, the thinking he had, then his emotional sense, and then his enthusiasm. So, he wasn't so much a fiery, showy person. Okay, masculine, feminine, 6 masculine, feminine, 8 feminine, a little more reflective than projective. And one sign, the rulerships, the sun is ruled 1, moon rules nothing, Mercury rules 3, Venus is ruling 6. 6 points, 2 points Mars, 2 points Jupiter, and none Saturn. So if his Venus is a 50, if he's not happy, if he's not content, he's not getting what he wants, he's not being appreciated, it's going to have a really powerful effect on 6 points in this chart, because it includes the sun that's on 5 planets, sun and 4 planets. So it would have a strong effect on those other planets. And the Mercury is next with 3, so his thinking, that's the moon, Saturn in Gemini, the 3 points in Gemini, his thinking, if his thinking was off, it would affect 3 points, his moon and his Saturn. But normally, if it's positive, it would affect them positively. His Mars affected 2 points, itself and the ascendant, but it's in the sign, yeah, so, okay, we're just, like I said, we're not defining, so we're just tuning into different balances, and this is just our number system. Our number system is based on giving 2 points to the sun, 2 points to the moon, 1 point to the ascendant in midheaven and the other planets. So just simple, just to get a group. So with the houses, 1 security, 1 performance, 2 duty, 4 partnership, 3 trust. So partnership and trust are his big focuses, and 1 friendship. So partnership and trust, wow, that's the psychologist, the psychotherapist, how to trust, how to share, how people are sharing, how trust gets broken, not get broken. Yeah. And how two people come together, share, and trust each other, and it works or it doesn't work, and you get repressions or anxieties and neurosis around this. Whew. Okay, setting. 11-point setting, 1-point rising. So even though he had the very strong I, me, independent chart by sign, by attitude, he's doing his own thing and he's burning brightly and trying to burn more brightly. His chart in the houses was 11-point setting. It's only Mars that was rising. Really, he was a responder, a reactor. He didn't, in his spirit, he was starting new things. So he did. He started psychotherapy. He started a whole new approach to understanding. But he really was the reactor more than the instigator. So even in building it up, he built it up in context to his academic standing, so his peers would relate to it. He built it up steadily, even though he had a lot of people competing with it, fighting against or arguing with his concepts, especially his Oedipus complex. He still was responsive to people. He would respond. He would take in those angers. He would take in those factors. But his personal Scorpio judgment wouldn't necessarily surrender to them. It would just fire him up. But he was responsive. He wasn't. This is great for a psychotherapist to be able to sit there and be responsive to other people. Jung was responsive too. But he just but I don't want to just keep comparing it all right now. I just want to put it through more on his own. The setting point, ability to respond, 8 above, 4 below. So more functional than subjective. More in the objective functional world of relationships and exchanges and how people react to each other. Friends, career status, partnerships, beliefs. These are above the horizon things. So it's the setting he responds to others. So when we look at the houses, 552, 5 angular, 562 cadence. So in the houses, it's not so adaptable. It's more fixed and driving. In the signs, he had the fixity by his attitude. The fixity was there, but he was a little adaptable, not so driving. But in circumstance, in a specific world, in the houses, in the mundane world, he had a pushy, determined side. He was there. Intuition, 0. Thinking, 1. Sensation, 7. Feeling, 4. So this is the 11-point setting, the sensation and the feeling quadrants. The sensation, the 9-8-7 quadrant, where you're responding to others objectively in the world. Without taking it personally, see how people react and you're interacting and responding. The feeling side is where you take it personally. And he had 4 points taking it personally, but 7 points interacting. But the weak parts were the intuition, which was not the third, nothing in this third, second, first house, so still there, but he's just not strong on projecting. And then the thinking, trying to affect other people and trying to think, he wasn't strong on affecting other people yet. With the Scorpio rising and his Mars in the 12th, that Mars is emphasized by being the handle of the bucket. There was a force to affect other people, to affect his peers, and to prove points. So there was a certain amount of thinking. There's only 1 point there, but he would use that point strongly. But really, the sensation, the sensibility, the ability to be interactive, that's very strong in his chart. Houses of self, 1. Relationships, 5. Concerns, 2. Rewards, 4. So relating and the judgment is sort of what do you get, what's the result or what's the reward. It's emotional. So the air and the water, the fire and the concerns were not the strongest thing. So, okay. I'm going to work through this chart.